Hello, guys. Welcome back. Conor's instant reaction to Daniel Farke's press conference. If you would like a full, thorough, and slightly emotional reaction to the press conference and everything going on at Leeds United right now, please head on over to the Patreon. We have a Leeds Lounge episode, which will be out this evening. We also have a Generation Leeds, the first time we've recorded in 3 weeks with the old man. I know you guys like that. Listen, it's £4 a month. All the proceeds go towards the running of the channel. Thank you so much. This video is brought to you by GNO, everybody. An e-commerce site which is going to be coming to you on the 5th of May. You can join up, be part of GNO now, which is really, really exciting, everybody. You do that, link in the top description of the YouTube description right now. Head on over, click that. You can, if you sign up to be a member right now on GNO, the first 50 people will be put into a raffle where you could get effectively a Calvin Phillips signed shirt, and it's all for free. Sign up, GNO, all for free, everybody. Make sure you do that. Listen, today we are going to be speaking about the press conference reaction. Illan Meslier has been dropped. Illan Meslier is done at Leeds United. That is signed, sealed, and delivered. Goodbye, Illan. It had to come sooner. It had to come sooner. In this press conference in particular, the manager basically spoke about protecting Illan Meslier by bringing him out, which I have to say got me hot under the collar once again, because this should have been done not only last season, but this should have been done. Like way before Sunderland. We've had multiple games. There's been so many mistakes. You could have taken him out after Hull when Paraag came to him and said, look, we can get you a new stopper. Quote on the article. We can get on the Athletic, I should say. Article on the Athletic. We can get you a new stopper. Daniel Farke wanted to stay with Illan Meslier. Daniel Farke mentioned last season, Illan Meslier is the best goalkeeper in the Championship. Daniel Farke today says, I think I'm a big believer to have clarity on a goalkeeper situation. I've taken the decision. Carl Darlow will play on Saturday. Carl and Illan are aware. Apparently, Carl's excited about it. Fantastic. I'm still in a mass rage about this. I have to be honest with you guys, because this has happened too late. This should have happened before. We all know this. He's taken the decision now, in my opinion, because Paraag's knocked on his door and said, get him out. We offered you a goalkeeper. You didn't take it up, so get him out. Now, tonight, we're going to be speaking about this with the lads at 8 p.m. on Battle Lines. Burnley fan and Sheffield United's reaction to the news. Is it good for them in terms of Illan Meslier coming out? Bad for them? You know, he's spoken about the squad selection. He mentioned Brendan Harrison was the best performer in the first half against Swansea. It's scraping the bottom of the barrel there, but still, Brendan got the goal. Willie is fit and firing, ready to play. Once again, no injuries, which the medical department have done an insane job this year to give Daniel Farke, basically Max Verber, Ethan Ampadu, obviously, who's been out sporadically, which has been a problem, and Patrick Bamford. So Bamford, Ethan Ampadu sporadically, and Verber are the players really who have been out of this setup, you know, for long term, and Pascal in there as well. But the level of the squad has actually been fit and firing and ready for Daniel Farke throughout the entire season. It's another game week where the obvious injuries are who they are, and we've not got more injuries. So credit to the medical department, who've definitely taken a step up this season. But it looks like, from what we understand, Carl Darlow is dropped for Leeds United. He said, I'm not nervous at all. I'm 100% convinced we will play in the Premier League next season. He also mentioned about Meslier having another chance this season. I don't like to change goalkeepers from game to game, but you cannot look far ahead. Illnesses, injuries, red cards can make you eat your words. Well, it wasn't to do with that. It was an abundance of mistakes, which we're all aware of, which has caused him to attack that. He said, why should I be nervous? We scored effectively 2 own goals in the first game back of the break. I think what I'd like to hear from Daniel Farke here is accountability. My selection was poor against Swansea. We'd all go, brilliant. Taking accountability, which is the main factor here with Farke. I would have liked to have heard him say as well, Swansea were the better team, because they deserved that credit. They were a better team than us the other day. And he should have said, in my opinion, I've made mistakes with selection, but that can be rectified this weekend. And we want players who are hungry for the running right now. I think you can address all that without it being too controversial in a press conference. He mentioned we are currently in the top 2. If you drop out, I'm convinced we get back in there or use the playoffs. Now, the actual use of the word playoffs, this is the first time I've heard him say it. He was then questioned, I believe, by Baron Cross on there. And then he started talking about, he said, I have to say, that the pressure at Leeds United is something that I've never experienced before. He said, I went to Norwich. When I was at Norwich, I came to Ellen Road and Leeds were high-flying, were top of the table, and we beat them 3-1, and there was an expectancy, there was a pressure, it's like almost, paraphrasing, but it's like no other club, and he actually referenced Leeds are falling apart again. It doesn't matter, Daniel. This doesn't matter, mate. You are laden with an unbelievable squad at this level. You have the best squad in one of this is probably, in my opinion, you look at QPR, a West Ham squad, Newcastle, Norwich squad with Cameron Jerome, Wes Hoolahan, etc. I think this is one of the, probably Leicester last season when you look at quality, this is one of the best squads assembled at championship level. You have been top for the majority of this campaign. 5 games ago, we were effectively 8 points ahead of Burnley. That is no excuse. You have had the choice, the option to drop a goalkeeper who, out of 27 goals, when we've been kind, he has been at fault for 12 or 13 of them. You have then come out and defended him consistently whilst criticising other players. You've made excuses about the international break being a problem. You've not taken accountability for not starting Willian Yonto from the beginning against QPR when Brendan Aronson was effectively struggling. You have not addressed the fact that a lot of our attacking players, like last season, are being ran into the ground and you're not effectively utilising rotation. You've not addressed that. So all of these things encompass are what's frustrating. And it's frustrating right now to hear. I thought I'd be happy to hear Karl Darlow been out. And you guys will think, Conor, are you never happy? Of course I am. Of course I am. But I want my manager to be able to do something proactively and do it with time, building match fitness. I now know that I'm going to see more of Ramazani. I now know that I'm going to see more of Nonto. I now know that I'm going to see Karl Darlow in the net. That should make me happy. It's annoyed me because we're now in a position where it feels like even though we're in the top 2, we have to grapple top 2 back because the momentum has completely shifted. We have to now put players into these spots of which they're not match fit. They're rusty. Some of these players have barely had any minutes or continuity or consistency. No, all these things frame into the same way anyway. That's a frustrating thing now. These things could have happened before. Glass half empty versus glass half full, 100%. And right now, it's encouraging. It is encouraging that Karl Darlow's there. It's encouraging Karl Darlow's excited. It's encouraging that he's made this change. But that was the bottom base bare minimum. He had to do that. He's done that now. Thank goodness for him. But I fully believe the 49ers have gone in and said, you get rid of him now. He doesn't play again. We've invested too much money into this squad for this goalkeeper to completely kibosh everything. He's done it last season with his statistics, which backed everything up that he was not the best goalkeeper in the division. This season, he's in the bottom 5, 6 goalkeepers in the division for mistakes and goals prevention. You get him out of this side right now. I believe there's a conversation that has been taking place between Paraag and Daniel Farke that in no uncertain terms have told Daniel Farke, and his job relies on it, to get rid of this goalkeeper for better or for worse. It's obviously going to be for better. And people are still saying online, well, Karl Darlow's not going to be any good. Well, you've got to hope now that Karl Darlow is going to be decent or just fine. The reference point I have for a goalkeeper like that being okay is Wes Foderingham. Wes Foderingham, who went up for Sheffield with Sheffield United when Heckingbottom was in charge. They had players like Iliman Ndiaye, McAtee. I think it was 2-3 years ago right now. Wes Foderingham, 31 years old or 30 years old, whatever he was at the time, journeyman. But he did well for them. He was a fine goalkeeper, not on the same level as Michael Cooper now, not on the same level. But he was an okay goalkeeper and he didn't make mistakes. This is what we need right now. But my worry is right now, there's a lot of pressure now on Karl Darlow. The balls that Luton would have been putting in from Alfie Doughty, if he is available, to Carlton Morris and Adebayo's head will still continue now because there is an added layer of pressure. Everybody knows Joy Division is going round. Leeds are falling apart again. Everybody knows this now. So the pressure is now massive on Karl Darlow, because he's got to come in and convince the fan base. He's got to come in and convince everybody, really, from a general standpoint, that he can cope with this. But this could have happened before, where there was no pressure on Karl Darlow. He comes in and there's a few games of which he can get up to speed with it. The goalkeeper previously has made mistake after mistake after mistake. He can come in without any pressure, leads the top of the table, and he can work his way into it. Now there is a pretty much nationwide understanding that Ilan Meslier if he actually plays against Luton, it's almost a sackable offence. So Farke has to get rid of him. He has to get rid of him right now. But the pressure, the ball's in. If I'm Luton, I'm still absolutely putting the pressure on Karl Darlow right now because he's got to stand up. And he's got to really deal with that pressure. And I hope Karl's excited. I hope his experience, his international experience, which I'm grappling onto, this international experience where he's been playing recently, where he can bring that in. But there is so much pressure now on him, which didn't need to be on him. But the change has been made, so I don't care. That is good enough. What I want to see going forward right now is Brendan Aronson out of the team and Willian Gnonto in the team. I also want to see, as I've just mentioned previously, Ramazani effectively used. I need to see more production from that front line. Joel Peru's got 1 goal in 7. Brendan Aronson's got 2 goals in 2025. Dan James has got 1 goal in 5. Or I think it was 1 assist in 5, I should say. So 1 goal contribution in his last 5 games. This front line needs to drastically improve. Drastically improve. Manor Solomon's got 1 goal in 12. So it's not just about Illan Meslier. It's about the front line. And the reason the front line is suffering because there's no rotation. We saw rotation earlier on in the season, and that's just stopped. So he can talk about the pressure. He can talk about Leeds are falling apart again, and then he can answer questions about the playoffs. He should not be doing this. And this shouldn't be coming to the fore. We have a litany of options. We have a caliber, a squad depth of which this shouldn't be an excuse right now. We should be far away. Not only the points that we've retrieved, that we would have retrieved from a goalkeeper, maybe even just making a few mistakes in comparison to Illan Meslier, but the front line being rotated and effectively used so they're all managed, ready, fit and firing for the last 7 games should be where we're at right now. So it's not just the goalkeeper and us saving 10 points if he'd have effectively been rotated, literally mid-season. But it's that front line, which for the past 5, 6, 7 games has really effectively since Sunderland, where Sunderland were in control for 75 minutes of the game, barring a late flurry from Leeds, a late flurry against Sheffield United. It's not been good enough. And that comes down to rotation of key personnel. So that's on the manager. So I'm kind of like passionately annoyed right now and passionately positive as well, because we're going forward. There's changes. I hope this is now going to be a reinvigorated Leeds United, a new Leeds United. I'm begging that Darlow has a good game, keeps a clean sheet, and then we go into Borough. And there is a fresh consensus going into that. But this should have been done ages ago. And because of Daniel Farke's comments after the game, where he's touched on Tanaka and actively avoided speaking about Illan Meslier, and he's done this before, whilst calling him the best goalkeeper in the division, and while saying that to the owners, evidently reported by The Athletic, that he didn't want a new goalkeeper in January. By doing this, he's made a rod for his own back. So Darlow comes in right now, who Farke evidently doesn't rate, because he'd have put him in beforehand, or evidently rates Illan Meslier too highly, which makes me question Daniel Farke. This had to be done. It's good that this has been done. But for goodness sake, please work. Yeah, this has got to work right now. This has got to work. I am upset that it's taken us this long and taken the manager this long, but it is what it is. I don't like him mentioning the playoffs when we're in the top 2 or being asked or going into depth on the playoffs. I don't like him mentioning the Leeds falling apart thing again and talking about pressure, and it's always been the thing with this club. It's no excuse, mate. It's no excuse. This team should be promoted in the top 2. It's no excuse about Leeds falling apart again. No excuse. A certain Argentinian dealt with it. You need to deal with it now with a much better squad than what he had. Like, comment, and subscribe, everybody. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and we'll see you tonight, I'm sure, for a Bolshe Battle Lines. Cheers.